members of the Elderly and Persons with Disability Transportation Committee, this meeting is now called to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphone when speaking. For those participating via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or asking a question. The MAG public comment process allows for members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you would like to make a comment at today's meeting, please complete the request to speak form. MAG staff can assist with any questions you may have. If you parked in the garage, a validation stamp is available on the counter here. If you purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'll be down the list by agency alphabetically. When I state your name, please say here. Matt Dudley, City of Avondale.
I'm here.
Thank you. Andrew Blanchard, City of Buckeye.
Present.
Thank you. Nancy Jackson, City of Chandler.
Here.
Thank you. Carolyn Ballard, Town of Florence.
Here.
Thank you. Stephanie Birmingham, proxy for Nathan Williams, Town of Gilbert.
Here.
Thank you. Nathan White, City of Glendale. Nathan White, City of Glendale. Tremin Colley, City of Peoria.
Present.
Thank you. Stephanie Rangel, City of Phoenix.
Present.
Thank you. Nina Ardondo, Pinal County. Nina Ardondo, Pinal County. Joanne Freeman, City of Scottsdale.
Here.
Thank you. Lindsay Post, City of Tempe.
Here.
Thank you. Luz Pardo, City of Tolleson.
Here.
Thank you. Chris Langmuir, Valley Metro.
Here.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? Thank you, Madam Chair. We have quorum.
Thank you. Our next item is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, informational items, or items on the agenda for discussion and not for action. 15 minutes will be provided for the call to the audience unless the chair requests an exception to this limit. I believe we have received one public comment. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then do I read or do you?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have received one written comments for the call to the audience, which has been provided to the members in advance of the meeting for consideration.
MAG also provides the opportunity for members of the public to submit written comments via the MAG website. Any comments received 2 hours prior to the meeting have been shared with committee members in advance of this meeting for consideration and will be included in the formal meeting minutes. Staff, have we received any online written comments for the call to the audience? Stop. That was the one that she just read or told us about. We received that. Thank you. I'll go ahead and move us on to item number 3, MAG staff report. The next item on the agenda is the MAG staff report. This item is on the agenda for information and will be presented by Wendy Miller, Transportation Improvement Program Manager.
Thank you, Chair Post and members of the committee. I apologize. I'm a little under the weather, so my voice might be a little shaky today, but I'll do my best. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to announce Audra Kester Thomas has been appointed to the role of Executive Director for MAG. We look forward to continuing our regional efforts and support under her leadership. So we're glad to have Audra in that role. Just some general announcements. The MAG Human Services Coordination Transportation Plan, which is basically the framework, the lead document that we utilize in this program, is going through an update process. We've done light updates throughout the years, but it's been many, many years since we had a big overhaul, and that's what we're working on, issuing requests for proposals for consultants to bid on this project. The plan will evaluate existing and future unmet transportation needs of the populations covered, develop an updated provider inventory, and establish short and long-term strategies to better serve the region, including review and recommendations for the use of the Transportation Ambassador Program and utilization of mobility managers. The plan will serve, again, as the framework for the program and guide the region towards more accessible transportation options. So for the committee, we invite you to participate and attend on Tuesday, March 17th next week for the TAP meeting, the Transportation Ambassador Program meeting. We have a guest speaker from GoGo Grandparent providing a presentation on the alternative transportation services provided by their organization. Kind of a unique concept, so we invite you to see that. They're a concierge service assisting in scheduling Uber and Lyft for seniors and people with disabilities. So kind of a unique thing that we wanted to make you aware of. And they do monitoring of the trip to make sure that they get where they're going. It's kind of interesting opportunity. And then we will be also showing the Roads We Share video, sponsored by the Coordinating Council on Access and Mobility. And this is a federal interagency council that works to coordinate funding and provide expertise on human services, transportation. The Roads We Share, this is a new documentary series where they are highlighting how communities across the country are using FTA's Innovative Coordinated Access and Mobility ICAM grant funds to expand access to transportation through innovation and coordination. The first video is about Here to There, a 3-county collaborative project connecting people with transportation options that meet the needs in their community. So very relevant to what we have going on. And then the City of Phoenix will be providing a Black Cat grant management update, giving us the update on the new system that they will be implementing very soon. And with that, Chair, members of the committee, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Wendy. Am I allowed to ask a question about your announcement?
Sure.
Is that meeting, Transportation Ambassador Program meeting, available to the public?
Yes, it's open to everyone.
I think I might like to share that with our Community Health and Human Services Department.
It is on the MAG website under Human Services Transportation. That's where the bases of all of the EPDT committee, the TAP meetings, the MAG Connect a Ride, that's where all of our resources are. So we can send that to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Item number 4 is approval of the January 7 meeting minutes. Does any member of the committee have any questions or comments? Hearing none, prior to approval of the meeting minutes, is there an opportunity? There is an opportunity for members of the public to comment. I have received no requests for this item. Staff, have we received any online written comments for this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have received no online written comments for this agenda item.
Is there a motion to approve agenda item number 4?
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the January 7th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you. We have a motion from Stephanie Rengel with City of Phoenix. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a,
Nancy Jackson, I'll second.
thank you. We will have those participating in the meeting online take part in a voice vote by turning on their cameras and unmuting their audio. We need to see the faces of everyone to participate in the voice vote. For those who cannot or do not want to turn on their cameras, staff will conduct a roll call vote. Staff will only call on those virtual participants who did not turn on their camera. Members, please leave your cameras on until after the roll call vote is concluded so staff can count the people's names whose cameras are not on. Can I have a voice vote for those in the room and those online? Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Members, please leave your cameras on. Staff, you can take a roll call of the members participating virtually who did not turn on their camera.
Joanne Freeman, how do you vote?
Joan Freeman, yes.
Thank you. Caroline Ballard, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. The motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 5. This item is on the agenda for information and discussion and will be presented by Wendy Miller, Transportation Improvement Program Manager.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Just to give a brief idea of what we're going to go through today, we're going to give a basic overview of the 5310 program. I know we have several committee members that have been on the committee for years and are very familiar with the process, but we do have some new folks. So we're going to go over the 5310 program, the allocation and funding requirements, the outcome of the internal review, and then we're going to do a review of the regional evaluation process and timeline. The eligible applicants for the Section 5310 program are private nonprofit organizations, public agencies, and tribal governments. The eligible populations are those older adults, and they are classified as 65 and older, and agencies serving persons with disabilities. And the eligible projects are not less than 55% of the funding must go to traditional capital requests, and up to 45% of the other requests, capital and operation, less up to 10% administration costs. So the ADOT Section 5310 application process for the small urban and rural areas, it runs adjacent to our process, but it's not part of our process. So for those areas outside of our urban area and in the rural areas, ADOT manages that process. They are on a 2-year cycle. And I believe this year their applications were due yesterday, March 10th, but it was just for the mobility manager positions. I think they do them off years. They do the mobility managers 1 year and then the project requests the next. And so they utilize statewide regional mobility managers to review those applications. And as we were just talking about, here are the urban areas. The Phoenix Mesa Scottsdale is the big portion in blue, and the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale urban area is in the gold. And then the beige or light yellow, the rest of it, those are the rural areas that ADOT covers. And how do we allocate the funding that comes to us? The 5310 program is a formula funded program, meaning there's a formula that determines how much each urban area gets or state and once they determine that formula, it just automatically comes to our region. And we get approximately $5.3 million every year for the Phoenix Mesa. We get about 450, give or take, to the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale area. And then we do a competitive selection process to dole those dollars out to the eligible projects. So the formula is made up of older adults and people with disabilities in each state based on US Census data. So there's some logic that goes into how they develop those formulas. And then once they determine that, the large urban areas with greater than 200,000 get 60% of the funding for the state. The small urban under 200 and greater than 50,000 in population gets 20%. And then the remaining rural areas get 20%. And the funding requirements, we just mentioned this, not less than 55% must go to the traditional capital, up to 45% goes to the other category, less up to 10% administration. And the federal share of these projects for most is the vehicles, capital projects, preventive maintenance and mobility management is either 80% or 85% for those ADA capital projects. Federal share is 50% for operating, and then a few unique 90% for ADA or Clean Air Act equipment projects. We mentioned this earlier, estimated funding for the area, $5.3 million. The fiscal year 2026 apportionments have not been released yet. And so here at MAG, we go through the process and make our priority listing determined on an estimated amount of funding. And so once the apportionments get announced, it's usually after our process is done and it's been forwarded over to the City of Phoenix, and the City of Phoenix allocates those dollars based on how the funding was approved through the process. The MAG Elderly and Persons with Disabilities Transportation Committee serves as the technical committee to develop the priority listing of projects. And again, they're utilized when the final apportionments are released. The regional application process this year, the applications were released on January 15th. We held a proposal assistant workshop on January 27th. We had a lot of participants for that. And then a week later, we held technical assistance meetings for those agencies that wanted to get a little bit more detailed help with their applications and ask questions, technical questions about the process. The applications were due on February 24th. And then MAG and City of Phoenix did a 2-week review through March 10th that determined all of the eligible. And I wanted to point out, there was a one-on-one requirement for new agencies to do a meet with the technical assistance meetings. So the internal review, we look for completeness, eligibility as mentioned, and regional criteria. And then we contacted applicants for minor clarification on items, making sure that we had the right signature and, so forth. City of Phoenix does a review for past funding balances. The Federal Transit Administration asks us to make sure that if an agency has a lot of unspent funds year over year, that we not continue to just pile on more funding to until they spend down their funds, their grant funds. So we did not have any instances of that this year. And then MAG also does a review of coordination and participation. So these are part of the scores that MAG and City of Phoenix as the designated recipient are responsible for. And you'll see in your scoring sheet that we already have populated the scores from this review. And through this review, it determined that we had an overwhelming 56 total applications in both areas. This is a record. I think typically it's in the low 40s. And we had 28 agencies. 51 of the projects are in the Phoenix Mesa urban area, Mesa Scottsdale urban area, and then 5 projects are in the Phoenix West Goodyear Avondale. The capital request was limited to 5 vehicles. Another point is There is a 2-year waiting period for applicants who returned awarded vehicles back into the program. So they need to wait 2 years before they apply for vehicles. I don't believe we had any of those. And then once we score all of these projects and you've reviewed them and turned in and we make the final determination, if there's anybody that scores below a 70%, they will not be eligible to continue in the process. So all applicants, in order to receive funding, must have scored 70 or above. And I mentioned that earlier regarding not moving forward an applicant's request if they have multiple years of funding. So here is the breakdown. We had 21 requests for a total of 48 vehicles, 14 preventive maintenance applications, 3 equipment requests, 4 mobility manager positions, and 6 operating project requests. We did unfortunately receive 1 late application, and we were not able to move that agency forward for their application. So as you can see, the requests far exceeded the estimated funding available. We have almost 8 million in federal requests. And once the 5.38 is the estimated apportionment approximately. And we do happen to have some rollover funds that from previous years that Phoenix has let us know that there's a pretty big chunk, $1 million available to add to the pot. So even adding the rollover funds to that, we still are oversubscribed with the applications if they all move forward. And then in the Phoenix, West Goodyear, Avondale, there are 3 agencies requesting 5 projects, 1 request for 5 vehicles, 1 for preventive maintenance, 1 for mobility manager position, and 2 for operating project requests. And again, this exceeds, the requested amount exceeds the funding available. The estimated apportionment is 445,000. We had 36,000 in rollover funds approximately, but 44,000 in the 10% administration funds. So that's far exceeding our $654,000 in requests. So just to go over the evaluation timeline, today is the application distribution and training. So we've made access available to you all for reviewing the applications and the scoring guide and all the instructions. If you have not been able to access the folder, or you're having any trouble downloading it, or you have any questions, please contact Aisha or myself. As you start the review process, the committee has an opportunity to ask questions. If something in the application that would, maybe change how you would score it, you need some clarification, we make that opportunity available. So part of the scoring sheet that and we'll go over this later, I'll show you, but part of the opportunity is you can write down the questions, you send those to us by March 30th, and we will send them to the agencies and say, these are the committee's questions. Could you please send a response? They have 2 days to respond. And then we evaluate it and put it in a package and send it back out to you so that you have those responses. So you can adjust if you need to. And then your preliminary scores are due to MAG on Tuesday, April 14th at 12 p.m. And then our application, interview, and priority listing process is scheduled for Tuesday through Wednesday, April 21st and 22nd. And we have mandatory interviews for all the applicants. So there would be 28 interviews to get through. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too, on how we're going to schedule that out and maybe get some feedback from you all. Once we develop the priority listing, it goes to the MAG Transit Committee for review. Excuse me. It goes then to the MAG Transportation Review Technical Committee. And then on to the MAG Management Committee, and I see we are missing, it also goes to the Transportation Review Committee. That should be added in there, my apologies, and then MAG Regional Council. So I believe that process goes through the June cycle. So in June, this should be up for approval by Regional Council. So this is the point where I am going to share my screen. We're going to kind of show you the application materials. You'll be looking at cover letters. There is an original Excel version of the application, commitment forms. Some people have submitted additional budgets because we did ask for certain projects, if they have a lot that they want to have added into their project. We said, if you want it funded, you have to list it in your budget. So some of them have a secondary, more detailed budget submitted along with their application, and then their service area maps. So with that, I am going to share my screen. And this is the wrong screen. There I am. And I'm logged out. Excuse me for just a second. I'm just going to pull up the folder that you all have been given access to that has all of the applications, just in case you haven't reviewed the link yet. You can see what you've got. So, oops. So they're separated out into the different urban areas. You have the Phoenix Mesa or the Phoenix Goodyear Avondale. There's the 5 applications. You'll have to score each one of them individually. And then the Phoenix Mesa Scottsdale, and we'll just go into one really quick. You're going to see it has the Excel application. It has their service area map, their support documentation. There are some individual things like their audit, if they receive over $1 million in federal transit or any federal dollars, they have to submit an audit. So you don't have to review those things. They're in there just, because it's part of their application, but you don't have to do that. We've already looked and made sure that they have IRS determination letters. We've already done that, and we've scored their cover letter, but the cover letter is there for you to get a general sense really quick on what the application is about, because it's just a quick summary. It tells you who they are, what they're filing for, and the amount, and that they're committing to the funds. So it's a really good quick review. And their commitment letter signed. So really the main thing is, I would say, the cover letter, the application, the service area map. All the rest of the stuff is more, administrative that we've kind of done. So it's in there, but you don't have to concern yourself with it unless you're interested. And then just a reminder that we need a confidentiality agreement from each of the members. So before you start scoring your applications, we need to, we've received 4 so far. So there's quite a few of you that still need to fill that out and submit it. And that just basically the confidential, I'll open it just so we can see it. It's basically saying that until the priority listing is released, that all of this is confidential, the information. And if you have a conflict of interest, there is a disclosure piece. So the example we give in there is that the city of Phoenix is eligible to apply. And if they submit an application, they wouldn't, because they sit on the panel, they would not be reviewing their own applications. It gets sometimes a little bit sticky for those of you that are Valley Metro members and Valley Metro submits an application. If your agency is included in the services that Valley Metro is applying for, then you would put a conflict of interest on that. For instance, the East Valley Dial-A-Ride, if you're one of those recipient cities where your city receives a benefit from that application, you would mark that as a conflict. Another good example is Valley Metro also has a travel training, and that is a region-wide benefit, so everyone benefits, so you do not have to disclose that one. So just to give you an example. And then if you would, please, oh, it says April 21 and 21. It should be 22. Sorry about that. Copy Stephanie, because this eventually goes to the city of Phoenix for their files. There, I put a copy of the Human Services Coordination Plan in there. So if you want to reference it, the strategies, read through it when you're scoring for coordination, et cetera. And then we'll go into the questions and scores. So the first page in here is the instructions. It goes through how you fill out the form, how it works. There's some nice fancy programming in there. So when you fill it out, it turns colors and you kind of see if there's an error or an issue with what's going on. For instance, if you need to fill it out, the cell is light blue and it will turn white once you've filled it out. If you happen to put the wrong amount or an amount that does not exceeds, it will turn red so you know that there's an issue with it. The second tab is a recap of the selection criteria for you. As mentioned, there are the cover letter and the review process. MAG does a review of that and scores applications based on these criteria, and also on their participation in the coordinated plan activities and the planning process. City of Phoenix does a review for agency experience and capabilities, and then also the reliability of the matching funds. They review the budgets to make sure everything's in order there, the financial piece of it, which as the designated recipient, they're responsible for that. So there's a total of 100 points, and in the application, I'm going to go to the reviewer scores. You'll see that there's the blue. MAG has already filled in the score for you, so you've already got it. So if you said, hey, this one is getting, it tells you up here how many points. So you would say, okay, they did perfectly, they're getting 10. This one is a little light, they're getting 22. See how it changes colors. And then at the end, it's giving you the total. So 5. And then you will leave the last one blank. That is the interview presentation, and those scores are given after the presentation on April 21st or 22nd. So you don't need to put in a score for that at this time. And it lists out all the applications, and you just score all of them on one page. In addition, they also have a page with all of the applicants, their applications, and then there's questions. So you just go in and enter in whatever questions you have for that application. And then when you send those to us, we will put those all together and send those to the individual agency. And then when we get those responses, we'll send those out to you all. in a similar fashion with their responses. So I'm going to take a pause. I know I've given a lot of information with this process. Does anybody have any questions regarding how to score, the process, the materials that are available for you to do the review?
Wendy, this is Lindsay Post. I do have just one question. It looks like the application itself or the scoring sheet itself has been updated from years prior. Is that right? Or have I just forgotten the way it looked?
I did not format this, so it's been
Okay.
there before. It's not new. I might have made a little tweak or
Okay.
two to it to, make it fit for this year, but other than that, it's the same.
And just to confirm, the confidentiality agreement that has a sheet to disclose any conflicts, we all need to make sure that we send it back to you with a CC to Stephanie.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Any other questions? I think one other thing I would point out in the selection criteria, it also in here gives you a suggested range of the points for if it needs improvement, if it meets criteria, if it meets or exceeds criteria, you can kind of gauge because there's a lot of applications and it's hard. You're probably not going to review them all in one day. And because of that, you may want to remind yourself, like in your style, how you're grading them to keep it consistent throughout all the reviews. One more call out for people, anybody that has any questions. Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Chair. That concludes my presentation on that item.
Thank you, Wendy. Do any members have questions or comments on that item? I do just have one comment. I did the math a little bit and we have, if we exclude weekends, we've got about 22 days to review these materials. So that works out to about 3 reviews a day if you want to keep yourself on track. It isn't overwhelming when you go into it, even though it looks like there's a lot to review. It is overwhelming if you save it all to the last week, like I have done in years prior. Any other questions or comments from the members? Okay, hearing none, proceed to item number 6. Item number 6 is the request for future agenda items. Are there any requests from the membership for an item on a future agenda? Hearing none from the membership, I think I might have stated this in the last meeting, but Tempe is trying to update our process for our own small capital outlay that we have available to us for human service transportation efforts. We have determined that we probably need to go back to the drawing board with that. That was instituted in 2004 with no updates, so it's probably time for an update. Wendy, I think I'm not able to commit to it now, but I do think that could be a possible agenda item that I'll keep you updated on in the next couple weeks.
Thank you, Chair. That sounds good.
Any other agenda items or comment from the committee? Hearing none, we'll proceed to item number 7. Item 7 is comments from the committee. Are there any comments or announcements from the membership?
This is Nancy with the City of Chandler.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I was just wondering, do we have an update from last year's funding where we are in that process?
This is Stephanie Rangel, Madam Chair, Nancy. The grant applications are with FTA. They have had a reduction in force, and there's only one person, so I've been going back and forth with them. I just sent them the revised applications yesterday, Monday. Today's Tuesday, right? No, Monday. I'm sorry, Monday night. And so I'm hoping that they will get submitted, and they usually get awarded in a very quick turnaround. And also at the same time, my staff are working on the agreements. So to be sent out to the agencies that did receive funding. And so we try and get the agreements in place prior to the grant award. So just be on the lookout for those.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other comments or announcements from the membership? My only announcement is that the city of Tempe has released phase 2 survey for our comprehensive transportation plan. It is open until March 18th. Okay, hearing none, no additional. I can move on to adjournment. The next meeting of the Elderly and Persons with Disabilities Transportation Committee will be on Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 at 9 a.m. Are we requesting in person?
Thank you, Chair. Everybody's welcome to participate in person. It's not required. We have a virtual option, so it's up to you. It's sometimes, easier when people are in the room to have discussions when you're determining, questions about an application. But all of the applicants will be online, so they
Okay.
won't be required to come in because they're from all over. And let's be honest, it's a 10-minute, interview max.
Yeah, we don't need them driving in.
Right.
Thank you. With no further business, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.